This episode of Walt Disney World Today is sponsored by MEI and MouseFan Travel. MEI and MouseFan Travel is an authorized Disney vacation planner, specializing in cruises and packages to Disney and other vacation destinations around the world. They provide signature service with no agency fees. Get a no-obligation quote at www.mousefantravel.com. This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Wednesday, March 5th, 2008, and this is episode 379 of Walt Disney World Today. I'm Matt Hochberg from StudioCentral.com. On today's show, I've got Len Testa, co-author of the Unofficial Guide to Walt Disney World. Hi, Len.
How's it going, Matt?
Outstanding.
Awesome.
Also on the show today, we have Mike Scopa of All Ears Net. Welcome, Mike.
My fellow countrymen, I have often inquired of myself what great principle or idea it was that kept this Confederacy so long together.
All presidents.
All the presidents.
Very good.
Honest Abe.
And also joining us, we have Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio. Hi, Mike.
What's going on?
What's happening?
What's happening?
You never.
Please edit that out.
Okay, James Brown is in the house tonight.
No, I think he's just having a stroke. Somebody hit him.
Sounds like someone's trying to strangle him. Lord.
On today's show, it's Wednesday, and that means we're going to be answering your listener questions. And the first listener question.
Right. I'm so excited.
First question is from Jordan Michael of Tallahassee, Florida, who writes, guys, on show 370, there seemed to be some confusion on using an extra day of your ticket instead of buying the park hopper option. In past shows, the decision was that you can't use an extra day instead of using a park hopper.
You can't
You can't do it. I corrected that. I corrected myself. You cannot do it.
Yep. Very good.
The real question
Jordan
is,
also-
how come we're answering questions about show 370?
Yeah.
Well, this is a correction. I'll make sure we get that out there so
Wow.
people don't go, 300 more episodes before they figure out you
So
can't
let's
do
make
that.
it. Let's make it clear, Matt, that if you need to go to more than one park in one day, you can only do so with a park hopper option on your Magic Your Way tickets. You cannot use an extra day to go to a second park on the same day.
That's right. Jordan also writes, Matt, if you can't deal with the lizards, good luck with the cockroaches. I've just heard much about these cockroaches. I haven't seen any. Oh, knock on wood. Oh, God. Just jinxed myself.
Exactly.
Next email's from
Runs screaming from the house, going, "No, my eyes!"
it's just like the butterflies and the ladybugs all over again.
Yeah, exactly.
Nicole from Percassie, Pennsylvania writes, Dear Matt, Mike, and Len, love the show. You keep me entertained on my hour commute to school. To be completely honest, I get stares from the other drivers on the interstate because I'm constantly laughing. My family and I will be traveling to the world in July 2008. I know, it's hot, it's crowded, and just plain blah, but I can't really complain too much since, 1, we're planning around my college schedule, and 2, we'll be arriving on my 21st birthday. This leads me to my question. I'm going to be with my mom, my dad, my 16-year-old brother, and my 9-year-old sister. We'll be staying on property at the Broadway Villas. I think maybe she means Boardwalk Villas. And we'll have a car.
Lights are bright.
We will have a car since we're driving down. We will also be on the dining plan. My mom wants to try it since we haven't done it since it was food and fun. I know that the dining plan doesn't cover alcoholic beverages. However, my mom has this crazy idea of taking me to Pleasure Island to party. I myself am uncomfortable with the idea of going out with my mom. Not that my mom is cool. It's just, well, she's my mom. I was hoping you folks could suggest a family-friendly place that we can all go and get sloshed. Okay, I put that part in there. That I can suggest to go for dinner and maybe hang out for a while afterward.
Raglan
So
Road.
you guys,
Nothing says drunken family like Raglan Road.
Raglan Road is
So
good.
I gotta say, just the idea of having your mom as a wingman just sounds a little. Excuse me, have you met my son?
I would have problems going to Pleasure Island, but going to like a place like Raglan Road, like a Pleasure Island club. Raglan Road though, I think is a lot more. I think it's better than trying to go to a club with your mom. But that's just me.
It's like going to Hooters with your mom.
What about the?
It's just not done outside of the Testa family.
Exactly. I mean, doesn't that go a long way towards explaining a lot of things about me? But I wouldn't recommend it for everyone else. At least I have some sense of what's, propriety.
Newell, did you have a recommendation?
What about the Adventurers Club?
He wants to know if the mom is hot.
Stop.
Please don't ask.
Stop.
What? Deny you said it. Deny it. Deny it.
All right, that chat is supposed to be private. It's not supposed to get out.
Do you have a recommendation, Mr. Newell?
I was wondering, what about the Adventurers Club?
That might be a good one also. It depends. I mean, assuming your mom has a good sense of humor, I think that'd be also a good option. But I mean, do they have dinner over there? I'm not sure.
I don't think so. But then
I'm
again,
trying to think of a place where you can have dinner and have some drinks afterward, and it would be okay. I think Raglan Road's gonna be the best option.
And there's no
Nicole
cover.
also writes, I do have another question. As I said, we'll be staying at the Boardwalk Villas in a 2-bedroom. This means that my boyfriend could potentially be coming down for the weekend, depending on whether or not he gets a job upon graduating the police academy on July 3rd. This means we wouldn't know if he's coming until late June. On to my question. If we were to come down already, have our reservations made for 5, how difficult is it to add a 6th person to a dining reservation? Since he will only be staying for the weekend, we will not check him into the room so that he doesn't have to pay for the dining plan for the whole week. So my second question is, how difficult is it to have a meal where all but one person is on the dining plan?
Yeah, it's not that bad.
No, that's not a problem at all.
It's not a big deal.
So we thank Nicole for her email. Not a problem at all. Just she should be fine. Next email's from Kevin from Fort Wayne, Indiana, who writes, Matt, Mike, and Len, 2 questions for you. What do you think the music for Toy Story Mania will be like?
Toy Story?
I'm thinking German funeral march, but I've been known to be wrong about these things.
16th century Gregorian chants, perhaps?
That's where my hump's from, from. It's going to be one or the other.
I think it's going to be a lot of, if you've heard the music around Pizza Planet, I think it's going to be very similar to that, that instrumental, strange things are happening and all that kind of good stuff.
Who's the dude that does all the
Randy
music
Newman.
for...
Randy
Newman. Yeah.
Kevin also wants to know.
Predict a lot of Randy Newman music. And my humps.
Kevin also wants to know, if you had $400 for 2 adults or $600 for 2 adults and 2 kids to splurge on the upcoming Walt Disney World visit, what would you spend it on?
Beer. Wait, how many kids?
2 kids.
How many kids?
$400 for 2 adults or $600 for 2 adults and 2 kids.
Beer and babysitting. Sorry. What was it? Oh, wait.
Wow.
Which money was it again?
Anyway, Scope, what would you use the money for?
Let's see. It would be a family thing, so you'd want it to be memorable. So let's say I would take them to Le Cellier, and I would take them on an Illuminations cruise.
Oh, not the cruise.
Hey, it'll be their first and last time, but everybody should try it once.
I would. You know what? How much money? 400?
400 for 2 people, 600 for 2 people and 2 kids.
I would do. Good question. 600 for 2 kids.
I think Scopa had a good idea with going with a dining option. I would certainly try out a dining option that may be a little like Yachtsman Steakhouse, for instance. That one
Kids
really comes
kids don't like sit down dining.
It's true, but you could, they'll sit there and they'll color.
I would do.
Depends upon how old the kids are.
How old are the kids? Old enough to drink beer? Oh. What about a tour, like a Segway tour or something? Or the kids are old enough for
Yes.
Segway?
Yeah, I was
that's a
thinking
good
that.
option.
I was thinking that too. Yeah, but can the kids go on that?
No,
tour?
they're going to be 16.
Well, we don't know how old the kids are.
Yeah. No, but I mean, you could do a lot of those other tours that way you don't have to be quite that old, but certainly.
Yeah, but I wouldn't do the all-day slog tour. I would do like a quick couple-hour tour.
Good. Next email is from TJ, who writes, "Hey Matt, been listening for some time, but I've never been compelled to email until now. I was listening to the latest episode as a professional photographer, I know who isn't, right? It was cool and funny listening to you guys talk about photography at the parks. I wanted to comment on the dilemma you mentioned with shooting on the teacups and not having it come out the way you want. I'm figuring you're looking
We're
at the
talking
whole
about vomiting here or photos? Did we?
No, the photos, like, you want to get the picture of the person in front of you in the not the background.
The shooting, not the way it came out. Okay, but okay, fine.
TJ writes, I'm figuring you are looking for the whole feel of the movement with the background streaking across the frame and the subject in sharp focus, which I was talking about. Your camera isn't really the option. It's a technique that has to be done manually. You need to be able to set the shutter speed to a lower than normal setting, a la manual control or shutter priority, because the camera is setting it high enough to prevent it. This will cause the shutter to stay open longer, so movement will be rendered as a blur, while the subject in front of you and on the ride with you will need to remain as stationary as possible to render themselves sharp. You should also use your flash, which will help in rendering your subject sharp while being relatively ineffective on the background, but it's a bit more advanced. As an example, if the shutter speed for a proper exposure for the scene was 1/125th of a second, high enough to stop most motion from blurring, you could try setting out 1/30th of a second, low enough to render even movement of your hands as a blur. You would also have to adjust the exposure setting accordingly in order to compensate for the difference in exposure. All I know is that Newell's writing the show notes for this week. Thank you, TJ, for that information.
I'm thinking Photoshop, but okay, go ahead.
Photoshop.
Helpful too.
Next email is from Drew from Cleveland, who writes, Dear Matt, Mike, and Len, I'm a long-time listener since episode 20 or so, and second-time emailer. I just want to tell you about my upcoming Disney vacation to honor WDW today. If you read this after the marathon weekend, then insert, I want to tell you about my 2009 vacation. I'll be running in the half marathon with my girlfriend. I'll be avoiding discarded shirts on the road. I'll be making sure not to eat any Vaseline on sticks. Both of us have unique shorts on if you happen to see us. My shirt will be saying running with my beauty, and her shirt will be saying running with my beast. The next Sunday will be my 21st birthday, and I will be partaking in some of the old Walt Disney World Today tradition of drinking around the world. I'll finish that day with a Scopa Special. If any of you, well, I hope you had a good meal.
He's going to finish that.
Welcome back.
Hey, welcome back.
Can you drink? A lot of drinking.
Quite a bit, and quite a bit of money.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Next email is from Eric, better known as Mercury Waxing at www.today.com. Hoorah! Right, so I have two questions for the runaway brain trust that is Walt Disney World today.
You know, Mercury Waxing sounds like a good name for a beauty parlor, a beauty salon. Go ahead.
First, are the hot dogs at Casey's Corner kosher? My dad's a butcher, and he's told me what goes on in non-kosher variety. Let's just say I'd rather stay away from those. If they're kosher, then I'm about to become a rabbi next week. I think they're beef hot dogs. I know that because if they're in order for it to be kosher, it has to be prepared a certain way. And first of all, I know there's no rabbi sitting over there and making it kosher. I think the meat might be kosher, but certainly the settings in which they're being prepared, I'm sure, are not. So that would.
Are there degrees of kosher? I'm just asking. I don't know.
You can get a kosher meal at the what is it called?
They have it.
Rays, yeah.
Yeah, I had one. You guys remember I had one at the American Adventure? Yeah, it stinks. It's terrible. Oh my god, worst meal I ever had. It's the only meal I've ever returned. And the cast member was.
Oh,
the cast member.
Exactly. Okay, my sugar for this? What do you call this?
I come all this way and they give me this my sugar.
Here come the letters.
Next,
we get letters.
All right. Next email is from Susan from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Writes, Hi, love your show and all of its quirks. We've been listening to each show as our end-of-day routine on Monday, Wednesday, Friday for a year now. Stockpiling a few shows on the iPod is also a great way to fly. Next spring, the week of March 17th, we'll be going for our 7th annual trip, maybe 8th annual if I'm too late for 2008, and we'll be staying for 6 days each time. There are 3 of us, 2 adults and a teenage daughter. We're flexible, not a big sit-down diners, and like pretty much every attraction. We're also DVC members, early risers, and we use extra magic hours and use the bus system. Our favorite park is Epcot, and we end up there for part of every day no matter what. What are your best tips for getting the best experience in a high-peak week? I value a quality experience over quantity of sites, and like to avoid the worst crowds even if it means an odd plan. I'm also a fan of the pool and a good book when crowds are their worst, opting to make one trip out of each day with breaks in between. Thanks for your expert suggestions.
Get up.
Yeah, Len, don't you have like 10s for that whole week?
Oh yes, I do.
I should take myself off mute, shouldn't I? Yeah, we do actually have 10 for the entire week. It's crazy.
Yeah, so this is a crazy week. So what are some tips here? Again, she's okay with not getting it all done. She wants to have a good trip and
did you guys I don't know if you guys saw this, but the Easter week, the Magic Kingdom has extra magic hours every day. Did you see that? They just added it. They added it Friday night, so Friday sometime. Every single day, which means that instead of the park opening at 8, the park opens at 7 a.m. So I would say if you, yeah, I know, isn't that crazy? So if you can get there between like 7 and 9, there should be prime park touring hours. I would say do that, and then by 10 or 11, when the crowd starts to really build, is the time to go back to the pool and the book.
Yeah, that's a great option.
I would definitely do that. Yeah, definitely do that.
No, that's great. I mean, if you could get in there at 7 and then you leave even at 10 o'clock, I mean, that's still a fair amount of time to get a lot of stuff done. And then you go back to the resort, take a break. I think that'd be a good option, as Len suggested. Scope, do you have any tips for kind of for experiencing Walt Disney World during really peak times?
The only other thing I would say, I agree with Len, getting to the park early. I would also try to plan my vacation around going to whichever park had, and we've talked about this, whichever park has extra magic hour evenings, that's the park you want to go to the very next morning, because most of the resort guests will get their fill the night before of that park. So that park the following morning should not have that large of a crowd base.
Great. Next email is from Jana from the Let's Talk About Disney podcast, who writes, one of your listeners asked if during special event fireworks like Mickey's A Very Merry Christmas Party or Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, if you could hear the fireworks being pumped into the restaurants such as Narcoossee's or California Grill. The answer is no. You can, of course, see the fireworks, but the music tracks are not pumped into the restaurant. So we thank Jana for that very helpful information. Next email is from Kevin, who writes, we're going to be going to Disney World and staying at a Valley Resort for our trip. With the changes to the dining plan, can you show me how you can get your money's worth by buying the dining plan?
Yeah, we actually talk about this. It's a free page on the website that shows you.
I was just saying, there's a link to it, Len, that we can put in the show notes.
Yeah, there's a link to it. Yeah, so it's yeah. So it actually breaks it down by scenario, showing different restaurants. So it starts with like if you eat lunch in the Magic Kingdom at Pecos Bills and you have dinner at Liberty Tree Tavern, how much can you save? And if you eat dinner at Tony's Town Square, how much can you save? At Epcot, it's eating lunch at Sunshine Season and then at Beer Garden, or at Le Cellier for dinner, or then like a 2 table service credit for California Grill, which, by the way, almost never makes sense. The way the new math works out in the dining plan is that it almost never makes sense to buy a signature meal using 2 table service credits. It's just not a good deal.
That's right. So I'll put a link in the show notes to that for you, Kevin. You can check that out. Next email is from Sarah, who writes, hey guys, I just have one question. My family and I will be going to Walt Disney World for New Year's Eve next year, 2008, 2009. I was hoping to wait to book until some discount codes come out, but I'm not sure if they will even come out, if there are, or there'll be any codes at all. So I was wondering if it'd be a good idea to wait, as it probably would be booking it fast. What is your advice on when to book or how to get the best deals? Thanks so much, and keep making such a great podcast.
Yeah, typically the week between Christmas and New Year, there are no deals. There's no AP discounts. There might not even be any AAA discounts, but you could always call AAA and ask to see what their rates are. I mean, in terms of shopping around, your best bet is to call Disney directly, and mention that you're a AAA member. Call AAA and mention you're a AAA member, and then I would call a Disney specialist travel agent, and then ask them and compare the 3 quotes that you get, and see what
I would book something like now.
Yeah, I would book now too. Yeah. And
you can always, if something comes out a better rate, you can always bump the rate and do it. Check with a good travel agent. Obviously, the official travel agency of the Walt Disney World Today podcast is MEI Mouse Fan Travel, so we'll mention that, obviously. But there are plenty of good travel agents out there, so pick your favorite travel agent, and they can take care of you by being able to update your rate as maybe anything changes as it comes out. But I think Len's accurate in that, saying that there really aren't any codes because they don't need to give away codes for that time of the year. Next email is from Bonnie, who writes, I just listened again to all of you talk about miniature golfing at Walt Disney World. Guys, Fantasia Gardens is not the monster you make it out to be. There are 2 sides. The side you must be talking about is the challenging side that is more like a golf course. We suck at it, but we have a blast playing it. My younger daughter cheats like crazy. But the Fantasia side that is themed after the movie is not hard at all. We love it and play it every time we go to Walt Disney World. I don't get why you're talking about it like it's so hard. Only the one side is, and you need to clarify that before you frighten all potential mini golfers away to Winterland, Summerland, or wait, never mind, don't tell anybody, and the crowds won't be there the next time we go. Love the show.
I think at any kind of golf, miniature or regular golf.
Yep.
Aren't we supposed to do a tournament with Lou? Were we going to do like a miniature golf tournament?
We should do it. Yeah.
We got another email about mini golf. It comes from Brian Poole of Florence, Kentucky, who writes, hey kids, in several episodes, including episode 343, Len talks about how hard the mini golf course is at Fantasia Gardens. I think that Scopa can attest to this, but he'd not chime in on this. There are actually 2 courses at Fantasia Gardens, one of them being the fairways, which is very, very difficult, and it basically resembles a real golf course on grass with sand traps, hills, water hazards, etc. And so we thank Brian for, both those, Brian and Bonnie, for emailing us, letting us know about that issue. Len obviously has no idea what he's talking about. He just makes up things.
Exactly. Well, why would this be different from anything else?
That's right. Next email is from Nancy from Rhode Island, who writes, "Hello all. Thanks for the great info. I'm new to your podcast. Heard about you in the All Ears Monthly newsletter." Thank you, Deb. My question is, what's your opinion regarding the best way to get a good job at Walt Disney World? I'm planning on moving to Orlando area in a few years. I have a lifelong desire to work in the House of the Mouse. My issue is that there are very few career paths that I consider with them, but I don't know who to speak to about narrowing this down so that I can beef up any needed skill sets in the meantime. Are you aware of any particular person or department at Disney who I could contact about this? I don't want to just connect with whomever picks up the phone in the human resources department. One of the things I can tell you, there's a couple things. Disney does work with recruiters, as I know that one of the things that when I was looking for jobs when I moved down to Orlando was many recruiters were offering me job opportunities at Disney. The thing with Disney is they're very big on promoting within, and therefore they like to bring people who are looking for jobs who want to get working for Disney have to usually start at the bottom. They have to get really those entry level jobs, and then Disney will then promote you from there. So that can be it's fine if you're young and stupid and you want to start that way, but certainly I'm sure Nancy, you probably have a life and you need to maintain it, and getting a $7 an hour job probably isn't going to be something that's going to be up your alley. Disney posts job listings on sites like monster.com and careerbuilder.com, and that's just one place you can check. You guys have any other kind of advice for them?
I would have said Monster, but I haven't checked. I haven't looked for a job in forever.
Yeah, they post it on there. I know Disney posts on there actively, and they always put up some new jobs. So it doesn't hurt to check. I just know that generally speaking, they tend to try to promote from within. Let's recognize the talent that they do have there. So,
Matt, what about the Orlando Sentinel Online?
Oh yeah, good choice.
The Orlando Sentinel Online, though, their job thing, I thought about that too when I was looking for a job. It's just Career Builder. They just bet in their site. All I can say is good luck, bro. Or
good luck,
woman. Next email is from Brett in Indiana, who writes, "Hi guys, when we go to Walt Disney World, we drive down and stay on property. We park our vehicle when we arrive, and we rely on Disney transportation to get us to the park, so we don't have to bother with traffic directions, etc. We are a get there in the morning and stay until it closes type of family. You almost have me convinced that driving around the world is the better way to go, but I'm wondering if the parking lots and the traffic are like at closing time in the parks. I have this picture in my head that tens of thousands of people are cramming into cars at once, and then I'll end up sitting in a traffic jam, which would be an ugly and unfortunate end to a magical day. Your thoughts or suggestions?"
It's interesting. I think we're probably going to change the recommendation in the unofficial guide. Because we say, with the exception of the Magic Kingdom, it's easier to drive to the other parks. I think we're going to change our recommendation on the Animal Kingdom because, as anyone who's driven there recently can tell you, they only open the parking lot at 8:45 now.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy. Stop by sometime and take a look at it. They'll open it they open it really late, so it's actually faster to go by bus to the Animal Kingdom. It
stinks, and I don't like it.
Yeah, no, I don't. I believe it too.
Next email is going to be.
Just want to point out that my gin is running low, so we can only take a few more.
We'll go try to squeeze these in here. Next email is from Kathy from South Carolina. Right, "Hi guys, we're new annual pass holders and planning 3 to 4 trips to the world over the next year. One of the most important aspects for us at any hotel is the pool area. Our kids 10 and 8 absolutely love water and the slides. We've stayed at the Animal Kingdom Lodge and love the pool there, but hope to try out new resorts each time we go. Since the kids love the water so much, which resorts would you recommend that we try out? My thoughts are Port Orleans French Quarter, although the pool will be closed through March, and Wilderness Lodge. How do these pools stack up against other resorts?"
Wow.
What are the two pools?
French
Wilderness
Quarter
Lodge and French Quarter. The problem with the Wilderness Lodge pool is that I don't think it's big enough for the
resort.
It's just even before they built the villas, I thought that it was far inadequate for the number of guests. So,
right.
So having said that, the French Quarter pool is probably the better of the two.
I would agree. I like the French Quarter pool a lot. It's smaller resorts, you have less people to compete with, and they have a nice little slide over there, which isn't bad for a moderate resort, certainly. Next email is from Steve, better known as the WDW Today fan club at wdwtoday.com. Hoorah! He writes, "Matt, I was trying to post this comment to the last show. I've heard that you say many times that you cannot use the tickets to a park that was not built yet. I have used tickets pre-Animal Kingdom to Animal Kingdom. As long as you have a park hopper with no expiration, you may go to any of the 4 theme parks. Just thought I'd let you know, as I thought this is the first as well, but a park hopper is a park hopper according to Disney. I guess the way they look at it is if you put your money in Disney tickets and don't use them for that many years, your ticket is probably more expensive.
Yeah, really.
Your ticket's probably more expensive than the one buying in today's Disney dollars. As opposed to if you had invested the money you bought the ticket with in 1992. Len, crunch some numbers on this. So we thank Steve for pointing that out. He's had way too much gin, Steve. He ain't going to do it.
I will. Send me the email and I'll do it.
Craig from Akron, Ohio writes, Mangello, gentlemen. I've been listening to the show for about a year now. I love the endless banner, and now I get most of the in-jokes. The show keeps getting funnier and funnier. Keep up the good work. I do wonder, though, how Walt Disney World Today got started. How did you guys meet? How do you start doing a podcast? Why did you start doing it?
I lost a bet.
Yeah.
This was second place prize in the contest.
Isn't this your community service, Len?
Exactly. She committed a crime. This is my parole officer said
I'm going to be here for a long time.
This stupid woman crossing the street, not looking.
I know, really. I mean, anyway.
No, but we started the show really. It was an idea. I was talking to Newell about it. I think Len was talking to Scopa about it at the time. This is back in 2005 when podcasting was really coming into its own. And we kind of had the idea, let's all work together. So we came up with the general idea. We talked about it for a little bit, and here we are, pulling shows out of the Cave of Wonders every single day. Next email's from Mark Smith, who writes, to follow up a camera question for episode 346, I have a Tamarack Expedition 7 camera bag, which carries about every piece of camera equipment known to man, but it's bulky, roughly 18 by 12 by 12. After much it'll never fit commentary, I've gone to a low Sling Pro 300, which should be smaller. From a reasonable standpoint, though, including foot room on Space Mountain, Expedition Everest, Soarin', can you point me on some of the convenient size bags that will carry a good chunk of camera equipment but still allow you not to sit with your knees in your chin and worry about the bag dropping off Soarin'?
You can't use like a backpack?
That might be a good option. Scopa, you use a bag. Is there anything, do you like it, or is it just you have it and it works?
I have it and it works. What I tried to do is I tried to find the smallest bag that I could find that had the best padding and that would allow for the least amount of shaking for the camera. Because if I went on Big Thunder or Expedition Everest or Space Mountain, I wanted to make sure that if there's any shaking going on, it would be to an absolute minimum. So that would be my suggestion is find something that's really snug so that the camera doesn't get shaken around. You don't want it shaken, and you want some padding in there. And the other thing you can do, if possible, get something which you can put a poncho in, so that when you do go to these rides, if you really feel a little concerned, you can wrap the poncho around the camera and then put the camera in the bag.
That's an idea.
Next email's from Shane Grizzard of Snellville, Georgia. Writes, hey guys, just a random question I thought of while listening to the old Dive Quest episode. When did the living seas become the seas? Did the former seas die and I was not aware of it?
When did the living seas become the seas?
When the Nemo
rehab.
It was in Friends. I thought, was there a different title?
There was the Living Seas was from, I think, Newell. That was always what it was called, right, when the park opened.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, and then what happened was then the what's it called, the old clamshell, not the clamshell, but the old attraction over there that closed down. I'm struggling for the name here. The one where the Nemo ride is currently. There was an attraction over there. Same idea. You go through you see fishes and stuff, and that one closed down for a while. And fishes. Then really, all there was a bunch of like basic displays and nothing there. And they closed it down back in, what was it, 03, 04, give or take. And they rehabbed a lot of it, closed it down, rebuilt it back up. And then when they closed this all down, they did the kind of the staged rehab reopening. First, Turtle Talk opened by itself. Remember, there was still no ride yet. And at that point, it was just the Seas Pavilion. And now it's the Seas with Nemo and friends. Mr. Newell, do we have time for one more question?
Yeah, really quick.
Okay. Jimmy, a.k.a. Cajun King, hoorah, from Marrero, Louisiana, writes, what's up, Mike, Len, and Matt? We have a trip planned in September 2008 with free dining. We've never been to the Hoop-de-Doo review. I was wondering if it's really worth seeing in your opinion. I have a friend who's been there recently and really enjoyed it, but thought it was not worth the 2 table service credits, and said if he were to do it again, he would just pay out of pocket and use his table service credits elsewhere. Just thought what you guys were thinking. Love the show, and Mangello.
Yeah, I've done it 3 times. I think everybody should do it at least once. It's very entertaining. The food has improved over the last 10 years. The jokes are corny, but the performance, the entertainment is top notch. I would say give it a shot. I would agree, though. I would not use the dining plan for it. I'd pay for it out of pocket. And if you're an annual pass holder, I believe you can get a discount on that.
Yeah, that's right. Len, you were just mentioning before that you don't like the paying out. You don't like using 2 table service credits for anything.
I don't think it makes sense under the new the way the dining plan is configured now. So I wouldn't do it either. I would pay out of pocket.
That's right. I just want to mention, by the way, going back to the Living Seas question, 2005, the Living Seas closed for its extensive Finding Nemo layover, and then the Seas film was changed. The Seas film and the Sea Cabs ride was changed, and then in October 2006, it reemerged with the new name. So that answers that question there for you, Shane. That's it for us today. You can find our older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments. Visit the Walt Disney World Today website at wdwtoday.com. For Len Teston, Mike Slipman, and Mike Newell, I'm Matt Hochberg. We'll see you on the next show.
This has been a production of Mouse World Radio.
This episode of Walt Disney World Today is sponsored by MEI and MouseFan Travel. MEI and MouseFan Travel is an authorized Disney vacation planner, specializing in cruises and packages to Disney and other vacation destinations around the world. They provide signature service with no agency fees. Get a no-obligation quote at www.mousefantravel.com.